The 2020 presidential election was no victory for those who value truth and those who value life. But there is hope for the future because in the 2020 congressional election, a record number of pro-life women were elected to Congress. Joining us today, Congresswoman Mary Miller and Congresswoman Michelle Fischbach, both strong pro-lifers. And these two ladies haven't been sitting on the bench. Congresswoman Miller and Congresswoman Fischbach, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's great to be here.
Well, thank you so much for having us. I appreciate the invitation. It's great.
I'd love for you to just start off by telling us what were some of the highlights of your freshman year in Congress?
Well, getting to know the other members in the freshman class. I love to be able to go back and bring some good news to my constituents and to tell them that the freshman class is full of a diverse group of representatives, which I believe our founding fathers meant for us to have, and a record number of pro-life women are representing us, so that's fantastic.
Really beautiful. And how about you?
And I will share Mary's sentiments about getting to meet the rest of the freshmen, but also just learning that there are great pro-life conservatives in Congress, and they are fighting every day for the pro-life issue for the unborn.
Well, we are certainly glad that both of you are in there fighting for the unborn. And with Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health possibly overturning Roe v. Wade, we certainly hope that we have the chance to carry that fight even further. Congresswoman Fischbach, could you talk to us a little bit about your history of being in the state legislature, what that has brought with you to Congress? We know that you're now the co-chair of the Pro-Life Committee with long-standing pro-lifer Chris Smith. Can you talk to us about how being in the state legislature has helped you?
Well, first of all, I would just like to say how honored I am to be co-chair of the Congressional Pro-Life Caucus and to work alongside of Chris Smith, who has for many, many years fought the fight through good times and bads, and bad. So very honored to be there. But you know, I think my experience in the state legislature has really brought with me to Congress that understanding of how the state legislature works. And in case you know all of that pro-life legislation is going to go back to the state legislature, a better understanding of that, so that we can work in each state to make sure that we are passing pro-life legislation. And I was very honored to work on Positive Alternatives, which provided state grants to those pregnancy centers, pregnancy care centers across the state of Minnesota. And so there's legislation that I was able to bring with me, and very honored to introduce the Protecting Life and Taxpayers Act this year. And so we are just continuing that fight in Congress, and it has the life issue is so fundamental and has always been one of my top priorities as an elected official.
Well, and how beautiful to have the voice of the people of Minnesota right there with you in Congress.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And we know you are a mom, Congresswoman, yes. And as a mom, I'm sure that has influenced your views on life, as I'm sure science, your faith, yes. Everything about you. We know that your home state of Illinois is trying to separate parents from their children even further by repealing the parental notification
yes.
for an abortion act. Democrats are doing this across the board. What do you have to say in response, and what can be done at the federal level to try to keep parents connected in their children's lives?
Yes, it's true. So right before Christmas, our governor signed House Bill 370, which is repealing parental notification. It is an absolute tragedy. Children need their parents. So, down to 12, 14-year-olds are now going to have access to abortion. There's just so many problems with that. So the parents aren't even going to know what their daughter has gone through. She could be, hemorrhaging, and the parents don't know. Back here on the federal level, what I'm seeing is a big push against parental rights. I'm on the education committee, and I've been getting into it with the education secretary and other members who are Democrats. Literally, they have said on recorded committee hearings that parents don't know what's best for their children. And we need to tell people that that's where we are as a society. And I think it's great. I agree with Michelle. We need to get people involved at the state level. State and local politics is a firewall against an out-of-control federal government. So I want people to get off the sidelines and don't diminish the impact of these lower offices in the state and local level and help good people get elected. Get involved at your school board. Go to the school board meetings and ask to see the curriculum. Support good candidates, and let's fight back against this. But as a parent and a grandma, nobody loves their children more than the parents and are going to advocate for them more than the parents. So to cut parents out of the children's these major decisions, it's interesting because recently my youngest daughter is 17 and she could not see an eye doctor or a dentist without me giving parental consent. And these people, they are not pro-choice. They are pro-abortion. This is a billion-dollar industry. It's about money and it's about jobs. They are definitely not pro-choice. And by cutting parents out is another chip away from allowing a woman to have an informed consent, because these girls are scared, they're vulnerable, they've been taken advantage of, a crime has been committed, and now they are going to cut parents out. So, this is a disaster.
It absolutely is disastrous. And for viewers who are watching back home who have been involved in digital activism but maybe feel a little bit disconnected from their government officials, what would you say, Congresswoman Fischbach, what would you say that they can do?
Well, I say take that pro-life heart and those pro-life arguments to social media. Make sure that our side is out there and they are talking about it, because that is the pro-life heart, the pro-life love that's out there, and show the love, show what we're doing as we are embracing women and their children, and continue to make sure that our message is getting out. And so take to social media and share that pro-life message.
Well, and don't be passive when you're raising your children, because I guarantee you the left is taking every opportunity to brainwash your children. So give them the truth about life, when it begins, and the development, and allow them to see the privilege of being involved in the battle, because they have access to their peers, which I think is interesting, because I really think the tide is turning with young people. We have a pro-life young generation. We have so much on our side. The work that has been done by different groups such as yours and the crisis pregnancy centers and different churches, but also the fact that the ultrasound is available. My children accompany me to the ultrasound appointments for their siblings. So when someone says there's nothing there, it's a blob of tissue, they know better. They've been there, they've seen it, they've seen pictures. So, we have science on our side, but we need to get the message out and dismantle their bad arguments.
Amen. And I love that you're both moms, both in Congress and fighting for life. There's no one who fights for their children like moms will.
That's right.
Thank you both so much for being here with us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.